Hey guys, thank you for coming by Snejana's Life. My name is Snejana, and I saw this and I wanted to do a video about it to see what you guys as the viewers think about this whole situation. This talks about changing your gender after you die. Do you think it's a good idea? Do you think it's a bad idea? And why? I'm personally, for me, I'm astonished. Like, when is enough, right? I can see it from both sides 100%. Like, obviously, you're born a male or a female, yes. There's parents these days where they're like, you know what, even though my baby came out clearly as a girl, when they become a certain age, I'm not going to tell them that they're a girl. I'm just going to be like, you know what, sweetie, you can decide. It's your body, your choice. You can decide what gender you are. I've heard many stories of that happening, especially these days. I think that if you are a certain age, like once you become an adult, and if you still want to change your gender, like, that's 100% okay. Like, it's your body, your money, your choice. If that's what you want to do, go for it. But to be demanding it in other people's faces and screaming, like, I want you to identify me as a female instead of a male, like, in my opinion, that's a little overboard. Like, okay, that's your opinion. Like, you're the one that went through the process. You're the one that spent the money. Okay, I can understand why. You want others to view you as a male. But there's also people out there who are like, you know what? No, you are female. Because your DNA says that you are a female. If you die and scientists dig you up, they are going to say, yes, clearly you are a female because look at the bone structures, right? You can change literally anything on your body. You can modify anything on your body, right? But when it comes down to the actual bone structure of your body, like, that might be a little harder. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. Maybe you can. Maybe you can say, hey doc, change my my pelvis bone and make it smaller or make it bigger. I don't know. I don't think you can, but I know when you die, there are certain factors that people are going to look at and they're going to say, yes, this was clearly a boy or a girl. But to change your gender on your death certificate, your birth certificate is going to say, yes, you were born a guy or a female or a male. But your death certificate, that is the question nowadays. Like, do you go with the original birth certificate? Like, yes, you are clearly a girl, or yes, you are clearly a boy. Or are you going to go off of how you identify yourself as? Like, this is just mind-boggling. I don't know, man. Let's go ahead and dig into this video because I have a feeling that this is going to be more of a topic as time goes on. So without further ado, let's go ahead and start watching this.
Story. The Labour MP, Charlotte Nichols, has hit the headlines for saying dead people should be able to change their gender. She's called for the law to be changed so transgender people can have their gender changed after they've died in official records. There's a lot to this story than you initially think on the surface. So my lovely panel are still with me. That's Scarlett Maguire and David Curtin. Coming to you first on this one, David. I'm sorry, initially it sounds a bit bonkers.
It does sound bonkers. It is bonkers. It's absolutely crazy. I mean, if your people are born male or female, you cannot change your biological sex. So for someone to suggest that after you die, you can actually be reassigned a different gender to your biological sex after you die is absolutely balmy. Look, we have people who are archaeologists. They're digging up people from ancient times, and you see their pelvic bones. Their skeleton will tell you immediately if someone is male or female. I mean, this is what happens after you die. This is what happens to you, sadly. And there's no...
I meant to say pelvic, not pelvis. So, my bad.
getting away from it.
This is the Labour MP Charlotte Nichols and Warrington North who has suggested this. I mean, doesn't it, if we allow this to happen, isn't it normalising self-ID in the NHS, and doesn't it skew all sorts of medical statistics and and how we treat various things? I mean, there's one incident of a trans child who'd taken their own life. And we know male suicide is a big thing, but that was then going down as a female. It's a confusing issue.
Yes, so the reason she did it was because of the terrible case of Brianna Guy, who was killed, and because she's underage, she will be buried as a man, as a male, rather than as a female. Whereas her family, everybody, even GB News, talks about her as her and recognises that she had transitioned. So I think that's. While I agree with David that your pelvic bones and everything will always be male for her. Actually, it's about official records, and it's about my view about Brianna is actually we should be talking about the way we talk, not you at all, about transgender people and recognising, because it was a hate crime, right? And actually, that's the most important thing about her death is that one of the main reasons she was killed by the young man was because she was transgender. So actually, it's about that. But it is, it's about being respectful, but it's not about saying, look, that person's been dead 10 years and I think really they were a male or a female. It's about respecting what people are, and I think that's fine.
OK, so David, coming back to you then on this one, Sir Liam Fox, the MP for North Somerset, who formerly works as a medical doctor, he says it's patently absurd, factually inaccurate and statistical distortion. We should not be encouraging the idea that people can simply choose to change their biological status. So would it be, if we're thinking about Brianna, as Scarlett said, it was just horrific. One of the reasons she was murdered, certainly by the male concerned in this, was because she was transgender. Would it make sense then to identify her as transgender woman rather than a woman?
Well, everyone is calling her a woman, a girl.
But in the official stats.
In the official stats, well, you go by the biological sex. So obviously she is still, well, I use the word she here because this is what everyone's doing. I would normally say he, but obviously you don't want to say that because this is a horrible thing that's happened to an individual person. This is a horrible crime and all of this. So, this is a very delicate situation. But in official statistics, Brianna, as she's called, is a biological male. So in statistics, in how the NHS should deal with her posthumously should be as a male. And this would be, if you change this in the Gender Recognition Act, this will be another step to normalising transgenderism. And I worry here that this horrible situation is now being weaponised in order to advance the transgender agenda and to normalise things. If I just, one thing you did mention, which is very interesting, is about suicides in transgender people. But the suicide rate doesn't change after transition, it stays the same. It's usually underlying issues which are the issue, not people's gender.
So, this has been slammed by those who are opposing this as, a backdoor to more transgender ID in the NHS service. So, Scarlett, does this end up with babies not being given a sex at birth? Does it go as far as that?
No. It is quite clear that you look at a baby boy or a baby girl and they have a sex and they have a biological sex. What we're talking about is we're talking about a tiny minority of people.
Yes.
Right? It's really, really important. A tiny minority of people who find themselves very, very unhappy and they identify with the other sex. And actually there's always been a spectrum. I was a tomboy when young. I know,
absolutely.
And I actually thought, well, you know, now that we've got feminine and everything, but my daughter was too. And my son used to say, you know, when I grow up and I'm a girl, I mean, it's fine. But so they were on part of but when you have somebody who really, really identifies with another gender, I just think it's and then they die, right? And that's what we're talking about. Whether it's suicide or whatever, I just think it's respectful that you bury them as their gender. And I think this thing about normalisation, it is a tiny, tiny minority of people, and they are very, very repressed. And what the way they are treated by society is often pretty awful.
It's a fascinating debate, and very curious to see which side you come down on in this one, or do you see both points of view? GB Views at GB News. Get your opinions coming in, because this is all about what you think.
Here's one thing you need to do.
That is crazy, guys. Like that woman said, it's a really small, tiny minority, but I have a feeling in like the next month or two, it's gonna blow up. I'm just astonished. Changing your gender after you die. I can see it from people's perspectives of, well, I spent all this money to change my gender. Like, I view myself as a male. So therefore I should have it on my death certificate as a male. But if something were to happen and they had to dig you up and they're like, yes, this is the death certificate of so and so, and it says he's male here, and then they dig you up, and then the scientists and stuff are going through checking you out. They're like, wait a second, this is a girl. Like, is that going to throw them off? I mean, that's just a curious question. How far is too far? And do you think society has hit that, I don't want to say level of craziness, because I don't want to seem rude, but level of craziness? Like, I feel like no matter what I say, it's just someone's going to get mad. So, yes, how crazy is this world going to get when it comes to stuff like this? Because, like I said before, there's people that don't genderify their babies until their babies are old enough to be like, yes, I'm a boy, yes, I'm a girl, you know, this is why, or whatever. I don't know, you guys. I'm so speechless about this whole situation. I don't know. I just don't know. Do you guys think that it's okay to change your gender after you die? Yes or no? Please comment below, because I'm extremely curious to see your guys' opinions about this. Other than that, thank you for watching this video, you guys, and you guys have a good day. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.